The day began like many others. At the time, I was working early mornings at a shop pre-COVID, and I had to wake up god awful early and open the store. So I had a morning routine down. It was you wake up, stumble through the kitchen, put on a pot of water with an egg on to boil, go to the bathroom, do my bathroom stuff, get dressed. By the time I'm done getting ready for work, the egg would be done. I would then make a sandwich and then go to work. And I would do this every single day because I like a routine that doesn't require me to think too much. So the morning in question was just like 1,000 I'd done before. I wake up god awful early, stumble through the darkened kitchen, barely able to see before my eyes, and put on autopilot. I put on the egg in the boiling water, go to the bathroom to do my stuff. I'm sitting there on the toilet with the door open naturally, because as you do when either you live alone or in a long-term relationship where no one's pretending anymore. So I'm sitting there and I start seeing this flickering light playing on the wall next to me. And I kind of look over and I see this warm glow on the wall. And momentarily I'm comforted by it because I'm thinking, oh, that's nice. And then I realize, wait a minute, the lights in the kitchen are off. What is that glow? So I peer my head around the door to the bathroom and look back into the kitchen. And that's when I see it. My stove is now completely on fire. So I don't exactly remember getting from the bathroom to the kitchen, but suddenly I'm standing in front of my stove, gazing upon what appears to be a fireworks display where my egg and water used to be. There's sparks coming out from underneath the pot. There is a giant geyser of flame leaping up the side of the wall to the kitchen cupboards. And this moment of clarity comes over me and I think, oh, I prepared for this. I am a fire hazard in general. I like candles and I'm also easily distracted. I'm a terrible cook, but ambitious. So I have a fire extinguisher. I was a Girl Guide. I was a brownie. I was a certified first responder. I'm ready for this moment. I brag to my mother constantly that I have this fire extinguisher so she won't worry about me being an ambitious but bad cook. And as soon as the realization that I have a fire extinguisher and I'm ready for this hits me, I also realize that the fire extinguisher is stored in the cupboard above the flames. So that kind of rules that one out pretty quickly. And after quickly ruling out the fire extinguisher, I do the only next logical thing a person can do, and I began to howl at the flames. This guttural noise comes out of my body that I didn't know I was capable of. And it's just this primal scream. And I've never heard anything like it before in my life, let alone thought it was something that I was capable of making. And I don't know how long I stood there screaming at a pot trying to put out a fire, but long enough for my husband to wake up. And as he'd never heard a sound like that in his life before either, he comes running into the kitchen where he sees the mess I've made. He sees me standing naked from the waist down, a little bit of pee dribbling down my leg, howling at a now calm pot of water with a single egg. No fire. Everything is dark and tranquil except for this noise that I can't stop making. So there's a moment he just kind of looks at me, and then I stop screaming enough to explain to him what had happened. And he sort of says, okay, and then goes back to bed, because this isn't the first time I've lit something on fire, and it won't be the last time. But it was the most dramatic. And so with now more adrenaline than any coffee cup could ever give you, I sort of go about my morning, decide I'm going to have a cold breakfast instead of eating anything with that egg, kind of put it aside, get ready, go to work. The thing that kind of hit me more than the alarming fire I had caused that morning, and that was more terrifying to me, was the realization that that scream lurked inside of me this entire time, that I wasn't the kind of person in a crisis that was going to leap into action that I've been preparing for my entire life. I was the kind of person that just screams and screams and screams in the background, and everyone's like, oh my God, will someone shut that woman up, when someone else is trying to like make a tourniquet out of trash or like lift a car off a baby or something. And I think that is the part that worries me the most about the next fire I'm going to start, because there will be another one, is that I am not the hero in a crisis. I may not even be the person who makes it to the end of the movie, but yeah. So that was kind of the alarming part for me. Later, after work, I went to the hardware store to replace the element on my stove, which had exploded, which is how this whole thing happened. I don't know if you know this, but those little coils on your stove, they can give up and just die in the most dramatic fashion. And it's normal, apparently. So I went to the hardware store, I hand it to the guy at the hardware store, and he kind of looks at it, this thing that I've given him that now has a hole coming up from either side of the element. This twisted metal has like just erupted from. And he looks at it, he looks at me, and he says, "What did you do?" And I told him the obvious answer. Well, I screamed. I mean, wouldn't you? And that is my story.